name is Jo Bechtold, and I'm on the procurement team. I'm a procurement specialist here at KCRHA. Thank you so much for coming to our presentation about the 2026 Quarter 2 Severe Weather and Emergency Response RFQual. So today we're going to be walking through the timeline for this process, walking through what an RFQ is and what the process looks like, some more information about the new emergency response aspect of this policy, the scope of this RFQ, what submission looks like, going over the Salesforce piece, and taking any questions you might have. And before we go into our timeline, I would love to take a second to introduce my colleagues. Eli, Tony, and Shawnee, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi.
Go ahead.
My name is Shawnee Jones. I use she, her pronouns, and I serve as one of the procurement coordinators on the procurement team.
So sorry about that, Shawnee. I'm Eli Griffin. I'm the interim procurement manager here at KCRHA, and I'll pass it over to Tony.
Hello, I'm Tony Machacha, use he, him pronouns. I'm the emergency operations manager at KCRHA, and I run the extreme weather response program.
Thank you all so much for that. And thank you for spending some time with us. I'm going to move us into our timeline right now. So this RFQual was released on June 9th, and it's going to be open until the 20th. Our information is happening today, June 18th, and if anyone hasn't attended and would like to attend, there's going to be a post to our YouTube page with this information recorded. The last day for agencies to submit questions to RFP@KCRHA is July 6th at 5 p.m. And then again, that application is due on July 20th at 11:59 p.m. And folks will find out whether or not they are eligible on August of 2026. So that's when we'll let folks know if they passed. So now I'm going to be talking a little bit about the RFQual process. We're asking folks to please read through the RFQual itself for the full details about this. And just reminding folks that RFQ-specific questions cannot be responded to after that date in July. So please get those questions in as soon as possible to give ample time for us to respond and get the questions posted to the KCRHA website, just so everyone has the same information. And if there's an issue with Salesforce or any bugs or anything like that, we can respond to those questions after, and there's a ticket on the Salesforce homepage that you can respond, or you can fill out those details on. And please contact RFP@KCRHA with any questions, and a member of the procurement team will respond. A few more details about the RFQ process is that we're looking for qualifications from agencies that are interested in applying for weather and emergency response funding for family, youth, and single adults who are currently experiencing homelessness. And we're looking to pre-approve agencies for severe weather and emergency services response. And this includes shelter, basic need provisions, referral and support services, and emergency response. So that new piece includes provision of emergency shelter and or supplies in response to crisis, emergency response activations for extreme weather conditions, natural disasters, public health crises, hazardous environmental conditions, any other hazards that create a risk for those experiencing homelessness. So now I'm going to be talking about the expanded policy. It used to be just severe weather, but this new policy in 2026 expands what services are eligible for funding. So this includes emergency service responses under the categories of biological hazards, geophysical hazards, intentional and infrastructure hazards, poor air quality, and wildfire smoke activation. So the severe weather and these climate hazard responses are eligible to receive funding, and the complete policy can be found on the KCRHA website. And if you have more questions about what constitutes an emergency service response, Tony's happy to answer those questions. Now I'm going to be talking about the overview. So because this is an RFQual, agencies apply, and if they're not approved for the process, they can reapply again in 6 months. If agencies are approved, then they can move on to their developing a master service agreement if they have one. And if they don't have one, then we'll move forward with that and you'll sign one with KCRHA. Sometimes an MSA already exists, so then they'll go through a shortened amendment process. After you're approved, we wait for funding to be released. And then once an RFP happens, you'll be eligible to apply for that. And only folks who have gone through this process are eligible to apply. And it's a shorter RFP process because your minimum eligibility has already been verified. So it'll be about 6 weeks. Some more information about MSAs. Your MSA is all good until it expires, and as funding becomes available or need arises, KCRHA will run that shortened RFP process for agencies that have identified through this process. And we run these about twice a year. A couple important notes is that no funding is awarded as a part of this RFQual process. It just makes you eligible to be able to apply for a severe weather and emergency service response in the future. And there's no guarantee of a PSA or an entity that has successfully approved this process. So it's not a guarantee of funding in the future either. Those seeking funds for severe weather and emergency response services must participate in this process. KCRHA will open this process about twice a year. Next, I'm going to be talking about submission review. All technically compliant RFQual submissions are reviewed by a panel of internal, so KCRHA evaluators. It's a pass-fail process, and then they can apply in the next for funding. And to be approved under this RFQ, the organization must pass the financial review, meet all minimum eligibility requirements, and meet all the following rating criteria: operating within King County, having operational management, and of course, meeting severe weather services and emergency services needs. Next, I'm going to be talking about minimum eligibility requirements. So a full list of the minimum eligibility can be found on the KCRA website, and these slides will be posted too. So you can just click that link and it'll take you to information about the certificate of incorporation, federal state registry listing, authorizing documents, a certificate of existence, minutes from the last 3 board meetings, an EIN, the copy of your business license, KCRHA certification of non-debarment and suspendment, and proof of active SAM registration and with a UEI, excuse me. For financial documentation, we're going to need to see folks' balance sheets, income statement, statement of cash flow certified by the agency's CFO, finance officer or board treasurer, a report of your most recent audits, your recent fiscal year ending, so that's a 990 form, and proof of federal system for award management, and making sure that SAM is in good standing. All folks are going to fill out their RFQual through Salesforce. Salesforce is our grants management and contract system, which simplifies this whole process. And all providers and applicants must create and register an account. And the link is right there. And there's also some more links on the KCRHA website about how to make a Salesforce account. Salesforce is our grants and contracts management system, which simplifies this process for both KCRHA staff and our providers. All providers must register an account, and we're asking that folks please contact our grant admin team if you experience any technical issues by filling out a ticket. And this is what the ticket looks like. So it's right on the Salesforce homepage. It says needs support, and then there's a hyperlink to where you can create a ticket, and also some helpful email addresses that you can reach out to if you need technical support. So to log into Salesforce, you follow that link. If it's your first time using the software, you're going to reset your password. And then you'll check the email. Excuse me, this is for when you need to reset your password, you're going to check the email associated with your username. And again, if you need to fill out a help ticket, there's a link for that. Some more resources for Salesforce are right here. There's an in-depth system guide, training videos, and there's also a hyperlink right here to get into direct contact with someone from KCRHA who will meet with you in real time to figure out what's going on. For more information about any funding opportunities in this RFQual in particular, I'm going to direct you to the funding opportunity page on the KCRHA website. Notebooks are here. Live funding opportunities, question and answers, and the slide deck are all located on that same webpage. So thank y'all so much for listening. Is there any questions?
Oh, thanks for going through it.
Yeah, totally, of course. And if any questions come up, again, that email address is rp@kcrha.org. So thank you all so much for taking the time to meet today, and we'll be in touch soon. Have a great day, everybody. Take care.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.